welcome to another video. I know I've not been around for a while. I've got a couple of videos that I am in the middle of editing. One of them's me going back up to Crumpton Moor where I redone the route that I crashed on. Now when I was up there, my back wheel didn't feel very safe, to be honest with you. Not safe, but I didn't give me a lot of confidence. I've been running a Minion DHF which come on my bike on the front because of my hands damp that I had. I burst it last year up at Crumpton Moor, earlier on this year up Crumpton Moor, and I threw this on before I went to Glentress because I didn't have a tyre ready at the time. So I threw this on and it was alright, but now it started getting wet and muddy. I've decided that now it's time to throw on another hands damp, purely because when that was on there it did give me loads of confidence. I need confidence because that's one thing that you'll see in the video. My confidence has gone. A couple of tools needed for it. I'm not going to use any tyre levers. I didn't need them last time, so I'm not going to use them this time. I'm going to show you a technique on how you can get your tyre on there without using tyre levers. I have not got one of the charge canisters for blowing up the tyre, but what I did use last time was a 25G CO2 canister and my muck off, that's the valve head, CO2 valve head, that's the word. Yeah, and I will show you how I do this. So changing the tyre, I'm going to show you how I do it without using any tools. There's just one tool left to use, and that's to take this valve core out, but we'll do that in a minute. That'll be the last job. So deflate your tyre. Change of plan. Let's use the valve core removal tool now because that's taking too long. There'll be a picture popping up now. Dead easy, dead cheap to get and easily accessible. And to be honest with you, some of you might have them on your multi-tool. As you can see how easy that's come out. So you want to squeeze around the tyre, getting as much air as you can out. Then brute force is, first off, just unseat the tyre. Then you want to get the tyre off, which is literally, there's not much technique, it's just brute force. I'm going to have to cheat because I can't get it off. Once you've got this off, it is easy then. Basically, when you've got one edge off, just literally just run your hands around, and you then just the other side, he says, should just come off nice and easy. So that's the wheel off, and in here you may find that you've got plenty like old snot balls. Mine's still liquid because this has only been on here for a few months. So this is my new tyre. Swabble, hands damp, soft compound, recommended by Coach Phil. Got one on the front, sorry, I've got a Magic Mary in the front in the soft compound, and it does the job. So get your tyre, unfold it, get it shaped. Now these tyres, I always find it easier at going on over my road tyres and my road bike. Maybe it's because they're bigger, I don't know. So I'm just checking to make sure that there's not rotation. Depending on what wheels you're putting on, you want to check that you're getting the right rotation on it. They do go on a certain way, some tyres. So there is no rotation on these. So what I tend to do is put your valve at 12 o'clock. So your valve at 12 o'clock, seat your wheel inside it, lift it up. This is really awkward to film this. Seat it at 12 o'clock, then push just one side and then wheel on. Sorry, one side of the tyre on to the wheel. So as you can see there, it's half on. Now while I've got it like this, it's up to you which way you do it with your labels. You might not even care. I have OCD and it has to be right. So what I want to do is get the brand name and the tyre lined up with the valve. You can put the tyre name, doesn't matter. Doesn't, in terms of safety, doesn't matter at all. So what I tend to do is count your letters, As you can see there, I've got Schwabel. I'm just going to get that roughly in the middle, where I'm happy with. So with that like that, then push on the bottom. Start at the bottom, working up towards the valve. Just tucking it in, inch by inch, until you get to the top. And then once you're at the top here, then what I tend to do is, inside the wheel, if you looked at the wheel like that way, the wheel goes in and like that. And you want to push it into the centre, so you've got both beads of the tyre going towards the centre of the wheel. And then get the tyre here and then pull it towards you. And what you're trying to do is, any slack in the tyre, you're just trying to take that up. Then you should find that once you get up to the top, you should just be able to roll it onto the rim like that. Then make sure that both of the beads are sat around your valve, because if there's any, if the rim of the tyre is over the valve and the valve's exposed, when you put the CO2 in, it's just going to blow everywhere. And ideally, I want to get this first time, because these CO2 canisters aren't cheap. These things, if you've never used them and you're just going to use them for the first time, these get incredibly cold. They don't do first off when you first put them on. You squeeze it on. Once you feel it go down and it won't go any further, that's it. So with that like that, then what you do is and that satisfying click is the tyre going on. What you want to do is, I don't think it's seated on one side, so what I want to do is I'm going to try and throw this valve on without all the air coming out, and then I can. So I heard the one side of the tyre seat itself. So what I'm going to do is, before I use another valve, another CO2 canister, is I'm actually going to try and do this with just a good old-fashioned pump.
So what you're looking for, you've heard one click, it's seated on, because you want to hear another one. And I can feel it starting to go on, it's holding some pressure, because I want to hear that another click, or it go bang.
There. Now, just wait and see for it to hold some pressure, and it's going down. Yeah, it is. It's holding at 24 psi. Now, what people do recommend doing, and I do myself, is now, before I put any kind of sealant in, what you could do is you could put the sealant in before you actually seat the tyre. I don't like doing it that way, purely because if it doesn't seat, you end up with sealant everywhere. This is far cleaner, and I'll show you how to get the sealant in a moment. So what I'm going to do is, before I put the sealant in, now I've heard those two clicks, I'm going to let all the air out, put the sealant in, and then I will pump it up with good old fashioned O2, oxygen, air, whatever you want to call it. CO2, that's fine, too boring. The molecules in it shrink, and you might find if you blow your tyre up with the CO2, when you come back to it a few days later, the CO2 molecules have shrunk and your tyre will have deflated. Always use air. They are good, the CO2 canisters. If you're out on a ride and you get a puncture, you can just literally pull one out, bang it on, and away you go. Once you've plugged the tyre, or you could just carry a pump. So we put the valve in before. Now I'm going to remove it again. I've got a Mavic tyre sealant injector syringe, application syringe, and I use stands, no tubes. What I do is, I'm not exactly sure how much of this you should be putting in a 29-inch tyre. I just know I've put 2 syringe fulls, which is 45mm, 90mm, and I've not had any issues so far. Some people may put more in, some people may put less in. Until they have a problem, I'll just stick with this. That's 180 mils in total. As you can see, I've put the syringe over the valve with no valve core in and just literally inject it into the tyre like so. And repeat. Once you've put your sealant in the tube, before you pump it up, you want to reinstall the valve core. Just nip it up, you don't need to go really tight, just finger tight. And then put some pressure in there to your desired pressure. So that's my pressure in there. As you can see, it's solid. Nip up the valve, put your valve cap back on, and then what you want to do is, you then want to move the wheel around and basically get that fluid all over, because if there's any microscopic holes where potentially the air will come out, this will actually fill it. And that, my friends, is good to go. Top tip, when you've seated your tyre, around here you can actually see a line, and you want to check on both sides of the tyre that that's got an equal distance all the way around. If it's not seated properly. And this is perfect. It's going to be hard to pick up on the camera, but yeah, that is done.
So this video's gone on a little bit longer than I initially first thought. I thought I'd be able to do it in under like 6-7 minutes. Anyway, is what it is. So that's a look at how I fit a tyre, and it's worked for me loads of times now. Any questions, please leave them down below. Please consider subscribing, helps out massively. I've got plenty of good videos coming up in the next few months. Hopefully restrictions get lifted in Manchester soon and I can get back to a trail centre. If not, I'll be just going doing the locals. Thanks for watching and stay safe on the trails, and I'll see you soon.